11, 1970, Plymouth Duster 340. At first, nobody really expected the 1970 Plymouth Duster to become a muscle car legend. After all, the Duster was basically Plymouth's economy compact built on the Valiant platform. It was a simple fastback coupe with a starting price of around $2,100, which made it affordable for a lot of young buyers. But everything changed when Plymouth introduced the 340 Performance Package. Under the hood was a high-compression 340 cubic inch V8 producing 275 horsepower. It came with a Carter AVS 4-barrel carburetor, dual exhaust, and a heavy-duty suspension setup. Thanks to that combination, the Duster 340 could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 6 seconds, which was seriously quick for a compact coupe in 1970. From the outside though, the car looked surprisingly plain. The design was clean and simple. Nothing flashy, nothing screaming for attention. That's exactly what made it such a great sleeper. Buyers of the 340 version weren't interested in fancy trim. They wanted performance, and that's where their money went. Another big reason the car became popular was its modification potential. The 340 engine was a fantastic platform for upgrades. With simple mods like headers, a better intake, and a performance cam, getting past 350 horsepower wasn't difficult. Many street racers even swapped in bigger motor engines like the 440 or the legendary 426 Hemi. In 1970, Plymouth sold around 24,000 Duster 340s, which made it a real success. Number 10, 1973 Pontiac Grand Am SD 455. By 1973, the golden era of muscle cars was starting to fade. New emissions regulations, insurance costs, and fuel concerns were forcing manufacturers to reduce horsepower. Many performance cars had already dropped below 200 horsepower, but Pontiac decided to fight back one more time. They introduced the Super Duty 455 V8, officially rated at 290 horsepower and 395 pound-feet of torque, SAE net. Some enthusiasts believe the real output was significantly higher, likely well over 350 horsepower using older gross measurements. What made the SD 455 engine so special was how heavily reinforced it was. It featured forged aluminum pistons, 4-bolt main bearing caps, a high-performance camshaft, round port cylinder heads, and special high-flow exhaust manifolds. In many ways, it was basically a race-ready engine straight from the factory. Now here's where the sleeper part comes in. The Grand Am itself wasn't marketed as a typical muscle car. Pontiac positioned it as a European-style luxury touring coupe. It had leather seats, radial tires, rally gauges, and a unique steering wheel design. On the surface, it looked more like a comfortable grand tourer than a street fighter, which meant almost nobody expected it to hide a Super Duty 5.8 under the hood. But performance numbers told a different story. The car could run 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5.4 seconds, which was extremely impressive for 1973, and the rarity makes it even more interesting. Only 43 Grand Am coupes were ever built with the SD 455 engine. The Grand Am SD 455 ended up becoming one of the final high-performance statements of the muscle car era, and what a statement it was. Number 9, 1970 AMC Rebel Machine. Back in the muscle car era, American Motors Corporation was often seen as the underdog of Detroit. It was a smaller, independent company constantly competing against the big three, Ford, GM, and Chrysler. But in 1970, AMC decided to prove they could build a real muscle car too. That's where the AMC Rebel Machine came in. Under the hood was a 390 cubic inch V8, producing 340 horsepower, which definitely surprised people at the time. For a company better known for practical cars, this was a bold move. One of the coolest features of the Rebel Machine was its factory ram air hood. The functional scoop fed fresh air directly into the carburetor. In reality, the performance gain wasn't huge, but the cool factor was off the charts. And that's what made the car so unexpected. Most people thought of AMC as the company that built economy cars, not aggressive muscle machines. Performance-wise, the Rebel Machine could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 6.8 seconds. It wasn't the fastest muscle car around, but it was still pretty respectable. The price was about $3,475, which was slightly higher than something like a Plymouth Roadrunner, but the machine came with more standard performance equipment. Unfortunately, the biggest problem wasn't the car, it was the marketing. MC never really had a strong performance image, and the Rebel Machine didn't get the attention it deserved. In total, only 2,000 1,326 units were produced before the model quietly disappeared. Today, that rarity is exactly what makes it so interesting. Number 8. 1970 Chevrolet Nova SS 396. In 1970, Chevrolet decided to do something a little crazy. They dropped a big block engine into the compact Chevy Nova. The result was the Nova SS 396. Technically, the engine was actually 402 cubic inches, but Chevy kept the 396 badge because it was already well known in muscle car circles. There were two main versions of the engine. The more common L34 produced 350 horsepower, while the much rarer L78 version pushed out 375 horsepower. But what really made the Nova dangerous was its weight, or lack of it. A base Nova weighed around 3,100 pounds, and even the SS396 version came in at about 3,400 pounds. That made it more than 600 pounds lighter than a Chevelle SS 454, so when you combine a big block V8 with a relatively lightweight body, the result is a serious power to weight advantage. The L78 version could run 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 6 seconds, which was impressive for the time. And from the outside, it still looked like a pretty normal Nova. That's exactly why it became such a great sleeper car. On the street, nobody expected a compact Chevy to be hiding a 396 big block under the hood. A lot of street racers learned that lesson the hard way. In 1970, Chevrolet produced about 19,500 Nova SS 396 models. But when it comes to the high-performance L78 version, only around 2,000 cars were built. Number 7. 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1. When people first saw the Buick GSX Stage 1, many of them were genuinely surprised. Buick wasn't exactly known for building hardcore performance cars. Most people associated the brand with comfortable luxury cars, not tire-shredding muscle machines. But in 1970, Buick decided to prove they could play the muscle car game too. Under the hood was a massive 455 cubic inch Stage 1 V8, officially rated at 360 horsepower. More importantly, it produced an incredible 510 pound-feet of torque at just 2,800 revolutions per minute, which was one of the highest factory torque figures of the entire muscle car era, and that massive torque made the car brutally quick off the line. The GSX Stage 1 could launch from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5.5 seconds, which was extremely impressive at the time. Once people actually experienced the car, they quickly realized Buick had built something seriously powerful. Production numbers also add to its mystique. Buick produced just under 700 GSX models in 1970, and about 400 of those were the Stage 1 version. Today, the GSX Stage 1 is considered one of the most desirable and rare Buick muscle cars ever built. Number 6. 1970 Oldsmobile 442W30. The 1970 Oldsmobile 442W30 is another muscle car that often surprises people. On paper, the 455 cubic inch Rocket V8 was officially rated at 370 horsepower, but enthusiasts have always believed that number was underrated. Many experts estimate the real output was well over 400 horsepower. The W30 package meant the car came with a set of serious performance upgrades. It included a fiberglass hood that reduced weight by about 55 pounds, along with a functional cold air induction system that helped the engine breathe better. It also featured a special camshaft, aluminum intake manifold, and even plastic inner fenders to shave off extra weight. All of this helped the 442W30 deliver strong performance numbers, including 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5.7 seconds and a top speed around 125 miles per hour. What's funny is that many people at the time looked at the car and thought it was just another Oldsmobile for older drivers. They had no idea how quick it actually was. Production numbers were fairly limited too. In 1970, Oldsmobile built around 2,900 W30 models. Out of those, 264 were convertibles, and only 96 came with the 4-speed manual transmission. That combination of power and rarity is exactly why the 442W30 is still highly respected among muscle car fans today. Number 5. 1970 Ford Torino 429 Cobra Jet. The 1970 Ford Torino 429 Cobra Jet is a great example of what a true sleeper car looks like. At its core, the Torino was built on a family car platform. It was meant to be practical, comfortable, and affordable. Basically the kind of car you'd expect to see in a suburban driveway, not dominating a drag strip. But everything changed once Ford dropped in the 429 cubic inch Cobra Jet V8. This big block engine produced 3 370 horsepower and about 450 pound-feet of torque, which gave the car some serious muscle. With that much power, the Torino could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 6.5 seconds, which surprised a lot of people at the time. Visually, the base Torino still looked pretty ordinary. It had a boxy, practical, family-oriented design. There was an optional stripe package, but many buyers chose solid colors, making the car even more low-key. The only real clue was the small 429 badge on the fender. The biggest downside was the weight. At over 3,800 pounds, the Torino was much heavier than compact muscle cars like the Nova or Duster. Still, the massive torque made up for it, delivering strong low-end acceleration. Handling wasn't really the focus either. The suspension was mostly standard Torino hardware, so this car was more of a powerful cruiser than a corner carver. Exact production numbers are a bit unclear, but the 429 Cobra Jet Torinos are considered relatively rare today, likely somewhere in the 3,000 to 5,000 range. Number 4. 1970 Plymouth Satellite 440. The Plymouth Satellite was originally designed to be a simple intermediate sedan or coupe, practical, comfortable, and pretty ordinary. But once Plymouth offered it with the 440 cubic inch Super Commando Fe 8, the car became something completely different. The high-performance 446 barrel, 6-pack version produced around 390 horsepower, turning the otherwise calm Satellite into a seriously fast machine. What made the Satellite such a great sleeper was its reputation. Nobody really thought of it as a muscle car. Models like the Roadrunner and GTX got all the attention, while the Satellite was mostly known as a family car. But once you added the 440 engine, the story changed quickly. The car could run 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 6.2 seconds, which was impressive for something that looked so ordinary. Styling was also pretty understated. Most cars had simple Satellite badging, optional stripes, and subtle 440 fender badges. Many buyers even chose plain colors, which made the car look even more innocent. Another advantage was price. A Roadrunner 440 cost around $3,000, while the Satellite with the same engine could sometimes be cheaper, while delivering nearly identical performance. On top of that, the Satellite was actually more refined. It offered better sound insulation, more comfortable seats, and an overall smoother ride, making it a better daily driver. Exact production numbers aren't perfectly documented, but 440 powered Satellites were relatively common, possibly 10,000 or more units. Number 3. 1970 Dodge Dart 446 pack. The 1970 Dodge Dart started life as a simple compact car, but some performance dealers turned it into a beast. They installed a 440 cubic inch V8 with the famous 6-pack setup, 3 2-barrel Holley carburetors. That combination produced around 390 horsepower at 4,700 revolutions per minute and 490 pound-feet of torque at 3,200 revolutions per minute. In a lightweight 3,200-pound Dart, the results were brutal. Estimates suggest 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 5 seconds and quarter-mile times in the 12-second range. Only maybe 50 to 100 cars were built. From the outside, it still looked like an ordinary Dart, which made it one of the most feared sleeper cars on the street. Number 2. 1970 Plymouth Duster 426 Hemi. Wait, a Duster with a Hemi? Yep, but it wasn't a regular factory option. A few dealers and special builds made it happen. The legendary 426 cubic inch Hemi V8 produced 425 horsepower at 5,000 revolutions per minute and 490 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 revolutions per minute, fed by dual 4-barrel carburetors. Dropping that elephant engine into the lightweight Duster created a monster. With the compact body, it likely ran 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 5.5 seconds. Production numbers are unclear, maybe 20 to 50 cars. It looked like a simple economy coupe, but the sound of a Hemi gave it away. Number 1. 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454 LS6. At the top sits the legendary 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454 LS6. Under the hood was a 454 cubic inch LS6 V8, officially rated at 450 horsepower at 5,600 revolutions per minute and 500 pound-feet of torque at 3,600 revolutions per minute. The engine featured 11.25 to 1 compression, a Holley 4-barrel carburetor, forged pistons, and a solid lifter cam, making it one of the most powerful factory muscle car engines ever built. Performance was serious, about 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.4 seconds and a 13-second quarter mile. Only 4,475 LS6 Chevelle were produced in 1970, making it both extremely powerful and surprisingly rare.